This is the Virginia State Attorney General candidate hopeful. He's a Democrat, and his name is Jay Jones.
Hi, I'm Jay Jones, Democrat running for Attorney General of Virginia, and we're going to talk about public safety. As the son of prosecutors and the father of two young boys, I've always believed that keeping our community safe is the most important responsibility of any Virginia leader. That's why, as a delegate, I increased public safety funding by more than 20%. Ensuring that law enforcement and our first responders have the resources and training they need to succeed. I also sponsored bipartisan laws to strengthen penalties for sex offenders, keep kids safe in schools, and establish programs to stop gangs like MS-13 in their tracks. Then, as an assistant attorney general, I took on the gun lobby and helped get illegal guns off of our streets. And this week, I'm releasing my public safety plan. As attorney general, I'll focus the office on stopping violent crime, supporting victims, and protecting our kids.
I'm just going to pause that real quick because I want you to take note of a few things. First and foremost, he talks about gun violence, right? So take note of that because that'll be important in just a few minutes here in this video. Secondly, take note of the fact that he talks about protecting our community and protecting our children a lot, okay? Take note of that as well. He's big on family and anti-gun stuff. So take note of that, and then I'll finish letting him introduce himself to you guys.
Not the MAGA extremism we're getting from Jason Miyares. Here's how we're going to do it. First, I'll combat violent crime by ensuring local law enforcement agencies can solve crimes and bring offenders to justice. We'll create a drug trafficking unit and work with our neighboring states to stop fentanyl trafficking. And we'll support community-based treatment and crisis response programs so people who need help get the treatment they need instead of ending up in jail. Next, I'll get illegal guns off of our streets by increasing interagency cooperation to target illegal guns. We'll hold gun manufacturers accountable for the damage their weapons cause and use settlement money and other federal resources to expand violence interruption programs that actually target the root causes of gun violence. Finally, I'll make the Attorney General's office a leader in protecting Virginia's children. I'll boost resources to fight domestic violence and child abuse, step up efforts to fight trafficking, and crack down on the social media companies violating privacy laws and taking advantage of our kids to increase their profits. My North Star is creating safer communities for my kids and for yours. And as Virginia's next Attorney General, I'm ready to deliver just that.
Wow, what a great speech. If you're a Democrat, you're probably fawning over that. All of that just sounds so wonderful if you're an 80 IQ liberal, doesn't it? But this guy's hypocrisy knows no ends. Over the weekend, once again, his text messages were exposed. And everything that he stands for in this video, pure bullshit. On top of that, he was exposed in a way where, in all honesty, borderline criminal. Take a look at these text messages. I have them. The blue is not him. The gray is. The blue is the person responding to him, who you can see is clearly startled. The text message thread starts off top left here. You weren't simply asking questions and you know it. Jay responds, I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. The blue responds, you weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. He responds, yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. You see some responses here. There isn't. I point blank asked you more than 3 times and you dug in that you meant it. I honestly am questioning you a lot today. He responds, I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. And again, take note of the words being used here. Fascists. They love calling us fascists, don't they? You can see from this text thread why. He's not kidding in this text thread. And I'm going to keep reading more here. He's not joking. Another part of the text thread says, again, the person in blue responding, they say nice things about everyone. He responds, if those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals to piss on their graves. Send them out awash in something. The guy in blue, his friend or whoever, just responds with his name. He says, Jay Jones. Now, keep in mind, he's talking about if his political rival dies before him, their family dies even, he would go and piss on their graves. This is somebody who wants to be the Virginia State Attorney General, a Democrat Attorney General, who is running with a future Democrat candidate hopeful for governor of Virginia, Abigail. We're going to cover her as well. And he's using language like this in text. After the person is shocked and calls him out by name and says, Jay Jones, he responds, 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets. Gilbert is the last name of his political rival, mind you. He says Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. At this point, the person responds, Jay, please stop. And he says, LOL, okay, okay. To which you can then see this guy who he's talking to responds, it really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death on them. You can see how devastating it was to the Democrats of Virginia state when these text messages were released. I mean, this is shocking and appalling, and I can't emphasize enough the fact that he used the term. He's calling his rivals fascists. This is why Democrats do that. There have been posts made about this already and videos made about this already, but that is the dehumanization tactics that they use to encourage violence towards their political rivals. And the problem is some people will use these terms and start buying it themselves to the point where they decide to take action. He doesn't look like the most mentally stable person, if you ask me. And his hypocrisy is just on full display. He is always giving speeches about family and protecting children in Virginia. And gun violence is terrible. We got to stop gun violence. And there he is in the texts talking about how he would shoot his political rival in the head twice, how he hopes his family and children die. It's all hypocritical. Look at this.
People always told me that your priorities come into focus when you become a parent. And my highest priority will always be the safety of our families.
You said, according to the article, I'm quoting, Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms so that Gilbert might reconsider his political views. I can think of nothing more horrific than a mother having to hold her dying child. How can Virginians trust a man who said something so horrific, so callously?
Well, again, I am so deeply, deeply sorry for what I said, and I wish that it hadn't happened, and I would take it back if I could.
That highlights the hypocrisy pretty well right there. I always like those side-by-side videos like that because when it comes to Democrats putting what they've said in the past compared to what they say in the present, it always pokes at them and pokes holes into their phony, false facades that they put on display publicly. Privately, I would say 90% of them are just like this guy. They hate you, they hate their rivals, they hate conservatives, and they hate America. Now, you would at least assume to save face the Democrat Party as a whole would condemn this behavior and these actions in this text message, right? You would assume they'd put out a statement immediately saying this is reprehensible, despicable. We don't want him. We don't claim him as one of our own. We don't want him running for any office, attorney general or otherwise. He's done. You would assume that would be a statement made by the Democrats, right? Well, here's Virginia Beach Democrats, Virginia Beach, Virginia, that is, of course, turning Virginia blue, vbdemocrats.org for immediate release. Here's their statement. Let's take a look. The Virginia Beach Democratic Committee reaffirms its full support of Jay Jones for Attorney General. We are lined up 10 toes down, ready to organize, mobilize, and deliver voters for Jay and our entire Democrat ticket. Bear in mind, this statement was released October 4th after the text messages came out. This is what it's addressing. Recent press may have spotlighted past mistakes. We say let those without sin cast the first stone. Oh man, Jay Jones has taken responsibility, apologized, and shown he is committed to serving with integrity and accountability that his public record already shows. Virginians deserve a leader who earns, grows, and stands for everyday people, and Jay is that leader. Jay Jones is a stark contrast to Jason Miyares in every way. In his tenure, Miyares has failed to stand up for Virginia families' concerns or values. He has not defended women's reproductive rights, workers' rights, or protected the hundreds of thousands of Virginians who are on the verge of losing access to their health care benefits and service providers. Yeah, but I bet you his private texts don't call for the destruction of his rival's entire political family via gun violence. I bet you he doesn't say stuff like, gee, I hope Jay Jones gets shot in the head twice. I hope his children die in his wife's arms. I bet you this Miyares guy's never said anything like that. The Virginia Beach Democratic Committee is calling on all Virginians to line up behind Jay Jones. Together in November, we will defend democracy and secure leadership in the Attorney General's office that truly serves all the people of Virginia. Hashtag 10 toes down for Jones. Hashtag Miyares, not our cup of tea. Statements like that are crucial to know about, to read, just so you can understand what the current modern day political climate in America looks like. We are now past the point. They have crossed the line when it came to Charlie Kirk being openly assassinated for simply using his free speech on college campuses. We saw the aftermath of that. I have a video on this channel, a 20-minute compilation of liberals on TikTok celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. You should absolutely check out that video because it's eye-opening. And statements like this are even more eye-opening. It's now happening not just at a voter level, not just at a despicable citizen level where people celebrate the death of conservatives. It is now happening on private text messages, of course, that were never meant to be released, obviously, but nevertheless occurred, took place. This is somebody trying to obtain a position of power in America who literally thinks that his conservative political opponent is a fascist who deserves to die for it, along with his children. And the Democrat Party backs him even more so, saying, oh, he apologized, that shows growth. Where's that philosophy, mind you, when they were coming after Trump for 4 years? Over bullshit, but nevertheless, in their minds, a justifiable cause. Has Trump not grown since he became president in 2016? They'd never acknowledged that. And when it comes to this, I mean, this is inexcusable and unforgivable when you're running for political office. To have called for the violence of your political opponent. Just for the sake of impact, this is the family that Jay Jones, future wannabe Democratic Attorney General of the state of Virginia, wants dead. He wants these children dead. He wants that man there being sworn in to be shot in the head twice. He literally stated in that text, if Hitler was there, he had 3 bullets, and this Gilbert guy, his opponent, was there, that he would dedicate 2 of the 3 bullets to Gilbert, his political opponent. And he wants these 2 boys to die in that mother's arms there. And the Democrat Party supports him. Now, this is the Democrat hopeful, the candidate for governor of Virginia, who I believe has hand-selected Jay Jones to be her attorney general should she become governor of Virginia. By the way, an election that I've seen is taking place relatively soon. Abigail Spanberger, another German that seems to really defy President Donald Trump too. Interesting. But what's her thoughts and opinions on Jay Jones' leaked text messages where he advocates for political violence, essentially, even if he is going to, of course, claim that he was joking? Surely, even though the Virginia Beach Democrat Committee won't disavow themselves from Jay Jones and actually support him wholeheartedly and double down, 10 toes down for Jones, according to them, surely this governor candidate, at the very least, will save face. She'll look at this as an absolute PR nightmare and disaster and go, yeah, that's inexcusable. Jay Jones is not going to be my attorney general anymore. I will find somebody else because I cannot support that, right? You would assume that's what she would say. Well, here's her official statement. After learning of these comments earlier today, I spoke frankly with Jay about my disgust with what he had said and texted. I made clear to Jay that he must fully take responsibility for his words. What I have also made clear is that as a candidate and as the next governor of our Commonwealth, I will always condemn violent language in politics. I mean, what are your thoughts on this statement? Does that seem good enough to you? Oh, I scolded him is basically what it is. I told him don't do that again. That's basically her statement. She hasn't stated publicly that she's going to pick someone else now for her attorney general spot should she win the governorship of Virginia. She didn't disavow him as a person. She didn't remove him from the running. She just stated, oh, I didn't like what he said. But then again, what else do you expect from somebody who's this much of a liberal progressive? Take a listen to this summary of just who Abigail Spanberger actually is.
At the end of the day, Abigail Spanberger wants there to be boys in girls' bathrooms and wants boys to be in girls' sports. And that's where she stands. And the reason why she cannot answer the question is because she knows where she is so objectionable to almost all Virginians. And therefore, she refuses to answer the question. The reality is that having men in girls' bathrooms and having biological males in girls' sports is unsafe. It's wrong, and it violates the dignity of women and girls. And that's what Virginians believe, and that's why she won't answer the question. Listen, this race is really clear. Last week, Trafalgar, who I believe is the best pollster in America, came out and said this race was now down to 5 points. It's tightened up hugely in the course of the last month because of the reality that people understand that Abigail Spanberger is a liberal left Democrat who doesn't believe anything that's consistent with Virginia values. And that's why this race is tightened up.
And he is not telling lies. First of all of those outdated Democrat talking points, she still very much stands for them. She is a liberal progressive who wants all of that crap that President Donald Trump has been actively undoing since he was sworn into office back in January. So of course, surprise, surprise, she publicly condemns the violent rhetoric that she heard about via these text messages that were released when it comes to Jay Jones, her future attorney general, should she win. She publicly condemns it, just like every other Democrat, but her actual stance on it is one of nonchalance. She doesn't actually care. Not really. I mean, let's be real. Jay Jones, she's exactly the kind of guy she wants to be attorney general because he's the ultimate DEI hire for her as a white woman running for governor of Virginia. So it's just politics. It's all just motive, virtue signaling, etc. That's all that it is. She's not going to disavow Jay Jones. She's going to continue her race for governor of Virginia with him by her side. But there are consequences for this. And like they said, the race is narrowing. Here's the actual data as of September 30th. I'd like to see updated data for this when it comes to the race now that the text messages have been released and Abigail won't distance herself from Jay Jones. But as of September 30th, she was only ahead of her conservative rival by +3, which is a margin of error at this point. Essentially, it could go either way. And now with this controversy out there, I'm willing to bet that that gap is even closer. And they are literally, as of time of recording, they're 1 month away, I believe, from their election for governor of Virginia. So I would implore all Virginians to get out and vote, especially if you're conservative. Keep her out. Keep Jay Jones out. Do not let this guy become attorney general. Save your state. These midterm elections are so important, and Republicans and conservatives are notoriously awful at showing up to them. It's not just about getting the president in. In fact, in many ways, your local and state elections are far more important. They affect your everyday life, much more even, in a lot of cases, than voting in the president does. So get out and vote. The good news is even MSNBC can't stand behind Jay Jones anymore. Morning Joe Scarborough, even states that Jay Jones should drop out.
Coming up, an attorney general candidate in Virginia is apologizing for his texts about a state lawmaker. We'll go through what the messages said.
Probably be forced to withdraw from the race, and probably is doing a lot there.
All right, Morning Joe, we'll be right back.
So there you have it. Even MSNBC is not behind this guy. And then finally, I'll leave you guys off with this after I tell you right now to subscribe to American Advocates. If you're a true American patriot, if you're a true America First supporter, this is the channel for you. However, if you have purple dye sitting on your bathroom sink right now and you have voted liberal your entire life and you believe tampons should be in boys' bathrooms, then please dislike this video and never come back to this channel. But I want to leave you with this. This is now the new epic Virginia Republican ad campaign out there being played on TV for people after this whole Jay Jones incident. It's absolutely a masterpiece. And we need more Republican propaganda put out there like this. Take a listen. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below. It helps the video perform well in the algorithm. And stay tuned for more future content right here on American Advocates.
We start with breaking news from the campaign trail.
Jay Jones is under fire tonight.
Jay Jones is under fire.
Jay Jones is under fire after messages he sent in 2022 saying former Virginia House Speaker Todd Gilbert should be shot.
I'm excited about this ticket.
It's been great to be out on the campaign trail with Jay Jones.
You said Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms so that Gilbert might reconsider his political views.
We deserve an attorney general who will stand up for the people of Virginia.
Jones said, quote, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head.
Let your rage fuel you.
Jones doubled down, saying, quote, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes.
How can Virginians trust a man who said something so horrific, so callously?
Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy.